Can you hear me now? Hello, everyone that is here. I think a whopping 9 of you guys. Perrine, if you give me a thumbs up in the comments, I'm going to invite you on. That way, we can have a back and forth if you're okay with that. Piran, Miran, maybe. Can you hear me now? I sent you an invite via text message. So check your text. I've been wanting to do this for a while for you guys. There's a lot to like break down in here. And a lot of it can be really confusing, but um, I wouldn't get too much into the weeds because you can actually like filter out a lot of what you could filter it out so much that you'll lose the trip, if that makes sense. I was really hoping that she'd be able to come on with me. Maybe. Since she was the one that not really wants this, but wanted some help. Well, so she is planning a trip from where she lives in Coachella, as you can see on my map down here at the bottom, up to Whitefish, Montana. That'd be cool if it was a straight shot, but it is not. But if you, I always start every road trip that I've ever done, especially if I know that I've got multiple charge stops at 100%. I'll charge to 100% the night before. This reference consumption here is only going to be applicable to your driving style. So if you've got the 21s or the 22s and you do a lot better than 2 miles per kilowatt hour at 65, then adjust that accordingly. I leave it at 2. I don't really mess around with this that much because depending on my driving style for that particular day, I could be at 1.8 or I could be as high as 2.2, 2.3. Your next thing that you can mess with is this area here, this few but long, somewhere in between there and quickest arrival, as well as somewhere between quickest arrival and short but mini. I am a huge proponent of short but mini. There's something to be said about charging more times for a shorter duration that allows you to get somewhere much faster than charging less times for longer. Because once you get into that 70, 80, 90% state of charge, you are going to drastically slow down. She says she's here, but check your text messages. I sent you a text with a link that you can click on to join me, like be on the screen. So we can talk this through. So anyways, back to short but mini. It just has worked for me in the past, and it worked for us on that 5,500 mile road trip that we did out to Moab, Utah last year. Yeah, I swear by it. Credit cards don't even. I don't mess with this because I don't use this to. I haven't found a reason or a way to actually use this to pay for charging as I go. Types of chargers for us is going to be, um, especially when we're talking about road trips right now, is going to be CCS. Uh, Avoid or prefer. I've got a few on here that you can see that I'm avoiding, but you can add, take away. Maybe they've updated a spot and that you've seen on PlugShare that you had previously avoided, and maybe on PlugShare says that they've put new hardware in there, and you want to try it out. You can come back in here and be able to remove it from your avoid list or add it to your preferred list. Ah, there she is. There you are. Hello.
I have to figure out. Hang on, my camera and audio.
Well, everybody sees you and everybody hears you. Everybody sees you and everybody hears you.
Awesome. Can you all hear me still?
Yep, still got you.
Now I can hear you guys better. Except I'm hearing myself twice. Can you all hear me? Quit the.
Close. You can either mute your computer. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yep. Nope, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
No, you're fine. So,
all right.
Have you managed to stay with me through this point?
No, I just got here. I had to grab a bottle of water.
Gotcha.
But I did figure out. I did log in and create a better route planner. Log in for myself, and I plotted out. I put in the Rivian R1S, large battery pack, 300 miles, departure state of charge. I think I said 90% because I like the regenerative braking. And I did the second dot from the right as opposed to short but many. I did the second one as opposed to the last one that you've chosen in terms of charging stops.
Right.
Is there like why choose that one as opposed to quickest arrival? I mean, you're sitting there waiting for it to charge faster.
Oh yeah, so I would definitely go either quickest arrival in anything to the right, preferably the short. I've always had great luck with short but many, just because that anything over 60%, especially once you start getting close to 70, you're going to be there forever. And if you're charging, you're not driving the speed limit or 5 to 9 miles an hour over. And for me personally, yeah. So for me personally too, I always charged. I was telling them earlier, I charged to 100% because within a matter of 15, 20 minutes, I'm going to have regen braking. And oh, by the way, you're going to be on this route. I haven't mapped it out personally, but I'd imagine once you get out of the city, you're going to be on the highway, or going to be on some sort of interstate between here and there. So regen braking doesn't really
matter.
It's not going to matter.
Okay.
And that and being able to leave, because you've got the 21s or 22s.
I think I got the 20s.
Okay, you're on the 20s. All right. I don't recall that. But anyways, I
ordered it with the 21s, and then they said there was somebody who wasn't able to take their vehicle, and it was close to my config. So I said, great, 20s. Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah. So for me, leaving it's best to leave with as much range as you can at the cheapest price point that you're going to have it, which is going to be at your house.
Right. Okay. So charge to 100%.
Yeah, charge to 100%. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And then so minimum charger stalls. This is a default one for me. I've never messed with this. Same with charger availability. I skipped an area. Charger availability is a default on. Minimum 4 charger stalls is a default on. And then this one, honestly, as you can see, I've never messed with this, or it's not on it's not on. I mean, you could turn it on to see what else might be in the area, but
I just did Tesla and J1772 and NEMA 1450. Are those the ones I should do, or just leave it?
Yeah, I mean, you can. This is just saying that it's going to show the chargers on the map,
Okay.
as even though
Right.
even though you might not be using them.
Okay.
And then as far as destination SOC, or as far as this battery level area now, so this one is this one is going to be how risk averse, or how
how much I panic on route.
Right, exactly.
Okay. So
So
I'm going to go higher than you, Jimmy, since this
right,
is
and
my
that's fine.
first road trip.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. So like, if I know, like, if I'm going to be driving from here to my brother's the RV park in South Carolina where we had the camping trip, if I
Right.
know that I'm going to have charging,
Mm-hmm.
I'll adjust this down even lower, because I know that as soon as I get there I can plug in.
Okay.
So if you know that you've got adequate charging where you're at, then there should be no
I don't.
reason why. So you don't have charging, or you
I have charging at my house, but I'm going to see my family, and they do
yeah,
not have electric
and
vehicles, and they're
gotcha.
in Montana. So
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
what I'm going to find when I get there.
Gotcha. So have you actually looked on PlugShare to see what's in the area,
I
or
have not. That's what I should be doing. Okay.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Okay.
you can do that after this too. But do they
Okay.
also, what about like a NEMA 1450 plug in the garage for a dryer, or
I
something
don't
that you
know.
can have access to? Gotcha. But either
Yeah, I
way,
don't know.
so we'll
Okay.
move on from this, but this one for me, destination arrival SOC, if I know I'm going to be going from here to Tallahassee, which is a hour and a half, 2 hour drive, um, and I know that I need to turn around and come back, I'll adjust this to like 40%. That way I give myself some buffer. I can charge on the way back out and then get home with maybe like one stop on the
Okay.
way home. One stop there, one stop on the way home.
Okay.
Charger arrival SOC, again, this is going to be one of those things where you can, depending on what your comfort level is, 10% has always been my go-to. But again, based off of your route, and we can adjust this too. So I'll just say,
I put 20%.
30%.
Oh, can you say 30? Okay.
No,
I was
that's
going to
fine. I
say, is
mean,
20 or 30?
yeah, it doesn't matter.
White Forest has a charge point 62 kilowatt. Okay. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah. So charger arrival SOC, since this is your first road trip, we'll go 30.
Okay.
And then charger max SOC. So this is basically what you want to sit at a charger to. So
okay. So 100% charge versus 10%, like versus 70% charge, like I might do at home.
right. Yeah. So this one is, are you going to sit at the charger until you're at 90%? So for this one, just for the sake of at least trying to see what it'll do, 906 is not an option. So let's go, we'll go 70.
Okay.
And then charging overhead, this is just talking about how long is it going to take for you to get to, once you park, to get your stuff together, and for the car to, for you to actually start charging. So it
So
factors in a
plugging
lot of
in
this.
and all of that, like
All of that.
saying
And for
who
the
I
car
am and all that. Okay.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Real-time traffic, that's a default on. This one is 109% of the speed limit, works out to like 8 to 9 miles an hour over the speed limit, which is kind of my
go-to.
Yeah, it's a safe speed for me. And the rest of this, I think we've all, for those of us that have had our vehicles for a while, actually, let me back up my thoughts. Battery degradation is an automatic 5%. I've never adjusted it. And then initial vehicle temperature, if you really want to get into the nitty gritty, you can adjust this to whatever your current vehicle temperature is, or whatever you think it would be when you leave.
Okay.
And then where I was going with that thought before I hijacked myself is extra weight. For those of us that have had our vehicles for a very long time, as long as it's inside the vehicle, I haven't come across a situation where I feel like extra weight matters.
Okay. So you leave that at 0? Or
I mean, I think it's been default at, well, maybe it was not default. I've just had it at 500 pounds for so long. I don't know. What's your safe? 0?
Let me see. Vehicle. Wait, where vehicle? 0.
Yeah. So I mean, you could put a couple 100 pounds or 500 or 0. I don't think it'll make that much of a difference.
All right, I'm gonna put 300. Very good difference. Okay.
Perfect. And then real-time weather I have, as well as you can avoid en route. So if there's tolls, ferries, all that stuff, I don't think you're gonna have a ferry problem on that route.
I don't think so. Yeah. Although it did say something when I first plotted it out. It said, "You're not going over water, so we can't plot your route." I was like,
"Oh, nice.
There isn't any water, so I don't know where the hell I went wrong."
Yeah. 2 Jimmys is about 500 pounds, almost.
Oh, okay.
Almost. Retirement has been good to me, or bad to me. I'm not sure how you want to look at that. So
I figured it was all your camping gear. That's why you put 500 pounds.
Exactly.
Not even counting you in that equation.
Valid. So real quick, what do you have set for your miles per kilowatt hour?
Where is that? Is that at the top?
Yep, scroll to the very top.
Oh, reference consumption.
Your reference consumption. Yep.
I don't know. It says 65, and I don't know. It says 455. I don't know what the hell that means.
Yeah. So see where my mouse is on 65. Click 65, and it changes it to miles.
Yep, 2.20.
Yeah. So if you have the 20s, you're probably closer to 2 than you are to 20, unless you drive the speed limit everywhere you go, which there's nothing wrong with that either. So as I was saying earlier before you got on, depending on how I'm feeling and I want to get somewhere in a hurry, I'm anywhere from 1.8 if I'm in a hurry, or if I'm driving Miss Daisy, I could get a lot higher to where I'm at like 2.2 and above. So I would be more conservative in your
so I should leave it at 2.2.
I would probably go to 2. I would go to 2, just because you are on 20s.
Okay, so it's 2.0.
Yep. So then once your Matt drives like a jerk, and he's at 2.3. Yeah.
And Bruce, no, these aren't the Rivian Navigate. These are settings within a Better Route Planner that we're tweaking for the Rivian. So he's got the R1T. I have the R1S.
Yeah. So when you're done, at the top left, you have I call it the hamburger with the back arrow towards the top of the screen. Click that, and then go ahead and I've just got this generically to Coachella, California, and Whitefish, because I don't want to throw your address out there. Not that I have it anyways.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. I was wondering if my aunt and uncle would all of a sudden want people showing up.
Yeah,
I think they'd be a little upset.
Exactly. So once we got all that figured out, you just hit the blue button, and then let it figure out its thing.
All right, it's done that.
Oops. Why'd you just do that? You're
welcome, Barry. Try Indio as opposed to Coachella or La Quinta.
No, it's because I accepted the whatchamacallit, the cookies.
Oh, okay.
Holy mackerel.
Exactly.
So there's definitely not a direct route.
Yours is showing 85 hours. Mine's showing 30 hours. Why the hell is it showing 80 for you?
I don't know. But does your route look like my route?
Hang on. No, you're going to the left more. You're going out of. You're not as direct.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. So
I mean, like, you're all over the place.
Where are we different? What are we doing differently?
I don't think I changed the many. Yeah, I didn't. I stayed on the second to last bullet. I didn't do short but many. Okay, so now I'm doing short but many.
And I stayed on. I was on the second one too. I thought I did.
Oh, you were?
I changed it. Yeah, I thought I
Okay,
changed
so
it.
now I'm recalculating after doing short but many.
And this is why people don't drive BVs. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It'd be a fun trip.
Well, I got to tell you, it did totally make me rethink whether or not I wanted to do this. Okay.
Yeah.
So now it's doing 30 hours, 57 minutes.
So I'm still
18 chargers.
What am I doing differently?
I don't know. Try La Quinta because it looks like you're, well, no, you're pretty darn close to where I'm starting. You're going way left. Like, see the 27-minute charge point kind of in the middle of your route? Go up, right that here. One.
Yeah.
There's a direct line from that one to the one that's straight above it on mine. So I don't know why you're going like that.
Let's try quickest arrival and see what we come up with.
Thanks for going through this with me, by the way.
No, you're fine.
Really appreciate it.
This is fun.
It was freaking me out.
This is what literally this is what Nikki and I did for our trip out to Utah. Is we sat here and messed around,
played back and forth with what would happen if kind of thing.
Look at the what ifs. Exactly. So what? Yeah. So let's back up. So your battery. What's your battery in your battery area? Are you at?
I have state of charge. The numbers you want. Okay, I've got 20, 20, 100, and 10. So I'm going to change it to 5 though. And then go back and recalculate.
Which one did you change to 5? Your destination?
Charging overhead.
Okay.
So it's 20, 20, 100, and then 5.
Yeah.
Still doesn't look the same. Did you read?
Yeah, I'm recalculating now.
Okay. Well, now mine's 29 hours, 27 minutes, 18 chargers. Yeah. Well, that's at least shorter because I'm doing more. There you go.
So much better. Yeah, so, and that's going to be the difference. Okay, so that just kind of shows you, that's the difference between.
It's interesting.
The downside, and I guess there's an upside. Your only real downside is you've got some chunky, there's 2 charges two long charges. The rest aren't terrible. Yeah. But even then, I bet this is the thing that Nikki and I messed around with is, we spent a little extra time figuring out. So you're sitting at a charger, or you're sitting at a charger for upwards of, an hour at some of these spots. Some are shorter, but if we go to like 80% max SOC, what that does for us. So 2832 goes to
30.
So goes to 30.
Wow. 16 chargers. Because I have mine at 100, and maybe this is the difference between the T and the S. I have mine at 100 state of charge for the battery section. Maybe. Destination arrival 20, charger arrival state of charge 20, max state of charge 100, and then charging overhead 5 is what I did.
Yeah.
And it gave me 29 hours, 27 minutes, 1,401 miles. But I'm doing direct. I've got the addresses in here, so
right.
That's a little more specific than what you've got, but still. It's interesting. And you have 16 chargers?
I've got, I just made 19. Another change and I'm up to 19, but I'm
okay.
I think I'm going back.
And you've got a shorter time. Well, no. So then the question is, I'm not planning on driving 24/7.
Right. Yeah, and we can go there.
How do I deal with that? Okay, sorry. Are we still
you're
messing
fine.
with?
You're fine. Yeah. So let me go. So 20, 20, 100. What am I doing differently? Quick. Is that where Are you on the second or quickest
short
arrival?
But many. I think I did short but many. I went all the way over. Gotcha. Yes, I went all the way over.
So I'll just.
Thank you, Jay. Okay, so that looks much closer to what I'm seeing or what I'm doing.
Yeah, so I'm back to 100.
Okay.
So I'm still at 19 chargers. I don't know what I've got different than you, but anyways, so here's what you can do is, do you see where our first stop is going to be?
Desert Hills Premium Outlet. Yeah.
Desert Hills. So you can click the
Yes.
little settings
Yep.
button right here, and it opens up this
Okay.
area.
Yes.
You can choose. It shows your arrival SOC at 74%.
Okay.
It knows that Electrify America is capable of 350. Are you going to get 350? No, but the one thing that you're curious about is your time. So you can choose your departure time if you click on the grayed out.
Yep.
If you click on the grayed out date,
yes,
and then you choose.
I did that with my home date. So my starting date, my home location, like where you have the Coachella listed. That's where I did
exactly.
that.
So,
okay.
I mean, say basically that you're going to stop for the night at Salt Lake City, because you drive right by Salt Lake. So let's go up to Salt Lake, or go down to Salt Lake.
Okay.
And it's an EV Go.
Salt Lake.
Went too far. So it's probably this EV Go. That is what is it? Yeah, there we go. So this EV Go just south of Salt Lake for 20 minutes. You can, again, click your settings and then change your date to where you are
okay.
leaving,
and then that will
the next day, or you're going to be going there the next day, if that makes sense.
I think so.
Or if you really
don't use the add a stop around this waypoint.
Yeah, and that's where I was going to go. Or you could do that and open that up, hit the drop down, which is hotel.
Yep.
And then you're going to stay there for however many hours. And it's, again, getting into the nitty gritty. If you find a hotel, or if you find a hotel that has charging, it may keep you from using that stop altogether. That's where, while Nikki and I routed with Abrp, we were also looking at the natural spots that we wanted to stop for the night. We had plug share on in a separate window, and we were looking around at the hotels in that area to see how many chargers they had. The tricky part is not a lot of hotels have a lot of chargers. So
so everybody wants to use them that has an electric vehicle.
Right. So our thing is, I mean, if you're okay with gambling at one, go for it. But just know that only one dispenser at a charger, you're going to have some pretty crappy odds. Whereas when we were in Denver back on that Utah trip, we found a hotel that was it was near where we were going, but it didn't help us out that night. It was right near where we were hanging out with all the other guys from, Scott Lunt and Ryan Reel and all those guys from Tony from Denver. But it had like 16 chargers, 16 level 2s at the hotel. So our odds were
better.
Were really good that we were going to be okay.
Matt's comment here. I've given up on hotel chargers. I'll use a hotel near a fast charger, though. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, and that's fine too. I mean, if you can find a hotel that's near the charging, sweet. If you can find a hotel that has charging and that you can actually use,
even better. Yeah,
even better. Just because it's 2 to 3 times cheaper, and you're not sitting there. You're actually getting some rest. Versus or like me sitting at the hotel bar having a drink or two, if it has a hotel bar.
Right. And I'm traveling with my cousin and my dog, so I'm going to have hotel finding issues, because I have to find a place that's going to accept a dog too, allow a dog and a cousin. You never know.
Yeah. No, the cousin's going to be the hardest part.
Exactly.
The cousin's going to be the hard part. But yeah, so adjusting out, editing these stops with your date and time will come in handy, especially for those overnight stops.
Bruce has got a great question here, which is, how do you find it compares to the onboard onboard planning. So my question, what I noticed in the planning, in the Rivian routing, I can only put one place. I can't, I can either, find me a charging location, and then I have to plot a second trip to go to the next place. So if I had to do the Rivian app to do this, it would take forever and a day. But I did go and plot from my home to my aunt and uncle's house in Whitefish, and it did plot out a bunch of places as well as stops. So I think that's how it kind of works now. You can't tell it how to do it though.
Right. I mean, for us on that trip, again, this was before the Abrp purchase and some of the features that we're seeing in the truck, but we took the data that we pulled out of Abrp, as you see here. And then Nikki is an extreme over planner, so we had a no joke Google sheet. Yeah, we had a no joke Google sheet that had all of our starts and stops, what our arrival time should be, what our arrival time ended up being, what our arrival SOC was, what our departure SOC was. And then before we left every trip, or before we left to the next destination, I would put it into the Rivian navigation, and we were going stop to stop that way. That way, if they're because obviously some chargers or some locations were in the nav and some weren't, as far as being for preconditioning of the battery. But yeah, and to answer your question, Bruce, specifically, I find this to be better. Again, going just from the standpoint that I have found for me that thanks, Matt, for coming out. I appreciate it. I don't know if I'm wicked smart, but
you got to be from Boston if you're wicked smart.
Yeah. I've screwed up enough times. I've screwed up enough times that I've learned through my mistakes. But anyways, Bruce, I have found that by charging more times for shorter durations gets me somewhere faster than by doing what Rivian tells me.
So, and then I get anxious too when I'm sitting there. If there are like lots of people waiting for the charging stall, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and I mean, thankfully on the East Coast, we don't have the kind of saturation that you guys do over on the West Coast.
Yeah,
but totally. Just watching it from videos or seeing videos of the lines. Yeah, I totally get it.
One I was going to say charging etiquette stuff that I picked up on a trip that I tried to make, but we just weren't getting there because of traffic. Is people who were waiting in line for the 3 stalls that were available. 3 stalls that were available, put on their flashers. And they were all like, okay, I'm next. And then that guy's next. And then the other guy here is next. And they were all like negotiating for who's in line when.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that is going to be self-police, I mean, as long as when you pull up, you understand that you're the third person, and then the next person that shows up doesn't think that they're third, but then I think there's go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say what I did was I was like looking for people sitting in their cars, and I was like, okay, is that an electric vehicle? Okay, good. That's an electric one. So I walked up to the guy and I was like, okay, so I want to charge 2. How do we work this? Line? What am I in? What am I in the line here? And he was like, okay, you're 5th or something. Yeah. And then I noticed that people were putting their flashers on because it was also in the middle of a parking lot. So you couldn't really tell who was parking to go into the store versus who was waiting to charge. So it was a little confusing.
Right. And to your point here on this last comment that you made, Bruce, yeah, I mean, you could do that too. I mean, again, when we did that trip in October of last year, this wasn't a thing. So yeah, it's 10 times faster pulling it up on Google Maps and then sending it to the vehicle one stop at a time. We just found that the vehicle plays it at that point in time. The vehicle played it too safe to where we were charging longer. We were charging fewer times and charging longer. Therefore, we were sitting there not doing 70 to 79 miles per hour on the interstate going to our next destination. So again, by charging more times for shorter duration, we have found that it gets us to where we want to go faster.
So that's the difference,
and
really.
cheaper.
And that's also the difference between a gas vehicle and electric vehicle that I'm learning, because I've never had an electric vehicle. I've never driven one before either.
Yeah.
As of like 2 weeks ago, I've just started driving an EV. So my biggest learning was it's not like a gas car where you go up to the gas tank, the gas pump, and it takes you 10 minutes to fill up and then you're gone and you've got like 300 miles. So what I've learned is it's like, you know, filling up a bathtub with water. You turn on the water as high as it'll go, so it fills up fast. But then, because you don't want to overflow it, you slow it down as it gets to the top, and that's kind of what I'm learning the electric does as well. So if I charge it to shorter, like to 70 or 80, is that how you do it, Jimmy? Is that?
Yeah, I don't. 24 minutes is usually my. I'm not sitting here.
So you do it minutes as opposed to.
Yeah.
As opposed to how much charge you put on it. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, 24 minutes. Because anything more than that, and I'm wasting time. And I am curious though. So like for instance, it didn't show those other stops, but because I didn't turn it on. Which one was it? There was. I'm trying to find that option for
what?
That showed the other chargers.
Oh, it's in the
here
overview
it is.
thing.
Yeah. Yep. So here it is. So if I wanted to show,
and like I said, I only turned on certain ones. You didn't turn any of them on, so maybe that's a difference.
So these are actually just going to show you like level 2s. I didn't think about that. These are just going to be level 2s in the area, but yeah, you could turn these on just to see. And I think it's only going to show you the ones in this area. But either way, yeah, I'm getting into the weeds here.
And I did not know what that little chart shows you. I mean, I don't understand what that's showing me.
So
is that showing
this shows you what the plan versus actual. You're probably going to get in with less because of elevation, maybe because of an increase in elevation.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going from sea level to mountains.
Yeah.
Basically.
But yeah, that'll be a fun drive regardless.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, that'd be a
I'm a little worried. I don't know if my cousin and I will be talking after this trip.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Dang it. But yeah,
at least it's only a couple of days though. So that's the part that I can handle, I think.
Exactly.
Not that I can't handle more time with my cousin. I love my cousin. She's great.
Yeah. I mean, if you're traveling with your cousin.
But what I mean is traveling that long. Yeah.
Yeah.
Traveling for that long is a lot.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah. How many? Yeah. What's the total mileage? Where did I see that at? So it's assuming it's gonna cost you $247 in charging. But
that's a hell of a lot less than it would cost for the gas. Because man, when I filled up my
oh, there it is, 1,400 miles. Yeah.
Yeah, when I filled up my Volvo SUV, it was $150 to fill it up, and it's like, I mean, it's like $5 a gallon around here. Right. It's ridiculous in California.
Oh yeah.
So it's really nice to be able to drive past all the gas stations. It does feel a little weird. I'm like, I should be driving in there.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I was saying, this route looks like it's definitely manageable. I think you're showing 3 less charges than I am.
Yeah.
However, I mean, ours are almost identical. I don't know what the difference is.
Yeah, I don't know either. Well, 3 miles. And I'm showing 18 chargers. You've got 19 chargers.
Okay, so now it's a 1 charger difference. Okay. And
Yeah.
that could simply be because I went generic. I don't have the actual addresses, so it's going
Yeah.
from city center to city center.
Right. And I wanted
But
to go try and use RAN chargers, but the only one that appeared on the route was the one in Barstow. I don't know if there are others as I go. Are there others that I'm going to be missing?
Yeah, no, you're gonna. My route has you missing all of
Okay.
them. And I mean, you can adjust accordingly. Just know that you're gonna um, be deviating from a route
Right.
that where just because you want to hit one RAN charger means you might have to hit 2 or 3 extra chargers that you
Mm-hmm.
weren't planning on because you went to the one.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the next steps for you would be is uh, I'd sit there and look at plug share next to figure out where your overnights are going to be.
Oh,
Because
okay.
you know Utah. I mean, Utah probably would be my overnight, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe not Salt Lake City.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then also too something for you to consider, depending on your level of adventure,
Mm-hmm.
is you're going to be driving not too far from like Zion National Park.
Mm-hmm.
So doing a national park stay, doing some camping, if that's what you're into, would be hey, I mean that's the adventure part.
That's not me, but
Yeah.
unless we're talking glamping. So I'm just, that's one of the things that I've had a hard time with is everybody is so into camping, and I love it that everybody's so
Yeah.
into it, and it's making me think maybe I want to do this, maybe I want to
Yeah.
try camping, because everybody's so into it. So that's one of the things I love about the community is
Right.
that everybody's sharing all of their excitement and discovery and stuff. So.
Yep. Yep. Oh, and for your trip to based off of Bruce's point, which kind of reminded me, I'm assuming Bruce, give me a thumbs up if this was a Electrify America charger. Um, and if it was, I would tend to hit I would use every 150 at an Electrify America station versus using a 350 because you're going to be able to pull anywhere from 150 to 170 as some of the faster speeds. That way you don't get that 350 D rate all the way down to 34, or I've seen it like as high as 37 out of a 350, which is terrible. But if there's an option for a 150, or if you have the option for a 150, use it. If there are nothing but 350s, which I highly doubt because every bolt owner will use a 350, even though they can only pull 55. Use the 150s unless you absolutely have to. Use the 150s unless you absolutely have to use a 350. You're just going to get a better charging experience. And if it's an Electrify America station, you'll pay less too than you would
I've
if
seen
you
the
were.
EV. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I was going to say the EV goes, at least around my area here in Southern California, seem to be very good and newer
Yeah. Oh yeah.
stations.
Our newer. We've got one old EV Go that's close enough that I would never use it, but the other
Mm-hmm.
ones in like Daytona on the way to my parents, and then the one the one that's really close is the one literally like 5 minutes from my house.
Mm-hmm.
And I would usually never use it, but in a pickle, when I was having some charging issues um, at the house because my charger was dying, which I never even told it. I haven't told any of you guys about that yet, but that's a whole other story. Um, I realized that the truck wasn't charging because I was having charger issues and I needed to hit the road quick. So I just went down the street to that EV Go and I was pulling like 221 or 222. I mean, it was a screaming fast charging session. Which I had not had a charging session that good at EA until recently. But yeah, EVgo has been great for me. It's extremely expensive, but
Mm-hmm.
it works.
Well, I had never, because I'm a new EV driver, I'd never used any of them, any
Yeah.
of the charging networks or anything. So I set up the account on my phone before I went there. And when
Yeah.
I got there, I plugged into my car. I was like, okay, it's not doing anything. And it
Right.
kept telling me, you know, tap here and do this, and it wasn't doing anything. So I called,
Yeah.
I called the EVgo people, and they were like, "Oh, well, what charger are you in front of?" And I was like, whatever its name was. I think that was kind of nice. Instead of saying,
Yeah.
okay, is it charger 1, 2, or the, you know,
Right.
5325?
Yep.
So I was like, I'm in front of, I don't know what it was, Monroe or something. He was like, okay, are you plugged in? I was like, yes. And he said, okay. And he did something and it started charging, and I haven't had a problem with EVgo chargers since. So I guess when you
Nice.
first activate your account, if you have a problem, call the vendor, and it might just be an activation issue that you might not be set up right or something.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and when in doubt, or if you see if you're having no problem charging, but and this is kind of my rule, if I'm having no problem charging, but I see that once I've started my charging session that there's a charger that's either down or not working, I call anyways, because I'd rather be the second,
help
third, or
somebody
fourth
else.
guy to I'd rather be the second, third, or fourth guy to call about it,
Right.
than not call.
Yeah.
And nobody has reported it, because 7 out of the last 10 times that I've called, that's the first they're hearing about it.
Oh,
And you
really?
look, and there's like cobwebs between the charger and the port where it's docked into the charging station. It's like, dude, when was the last time this thing was even used? And they're like, yeah, this is the first we're hearing about it.
So it sounds like one of the other electric vehicle good behavior type things to do is report any down chargers that you see, because you're just helping the person who comes in next, or the person who is freaking out, like me, a new EV person looking for a charger. And at least if I have the is in service turned on, at least there's a better chance that is gonna work.
I mean, now, whether EVgo or Electrify America does anything about it, at least they know about it, and they can, if they got to order parts, they can get somebody out there that can work on getting everything they need ordered to get that thing serviceable again.
Right. The guy was really nice. I just was like,
Oh, yeah.
I was confused because I was like, I set up my account before I got here.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
And it was definitely not a good experience when I pulled up to that one charger and we had like, I don't know, maybe 20% state of charge left, and there were no chargers around beyond this, and there were like 5 people waiting, and there were only 3 stalls.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, what do we do? And there was some poor guy who had a Mustang EV, and I think he said he was like at 10% or less, and he was freaking out because the charger would not connect with his Mustang. He was like, I have this problem all the time. And I was like, really? I would be done.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's if you, and I think that's the other part about charging more times for less duration is, again, spending that extra little time and looking to see what else might be in the area charging wise too as you go. Because, and I think this route that you're taking kind of shows that there's a lot of chargers spaced nicely apart. They're not so far, no chargers
close to me.
Right.
But as it gets closer to my aunt and uncle's, it looks like they're less close together. But maybe that's just how I'm looking at it.
Right. And that's just, and yeah, there's no telling until you did maybe like more stops, even more stops than that. But yeah. And then obviously your navigation will show other stops now that you can, as you're driving, you may, keep the map zoomed out a little further. But either way, I mean, this route definitely seems doable.
Okay.
So
thank you for helping and for being here to go through this with me, because I was like, oh my God, it's saying I need to take a ferry, and I don't know where the heck that came from. I was like, what?
Nice.
I'm just going north to south, south to north.
Yeah. And like I was saying, definitely try not to filter yourself out of anything, because you could make.
Okay.
I am curious what few but long looks like.
What?
Few but long, fewer stops but longer charges.
Right. Yeah.
Just to see. So 19 hours, 54 minutes with 19 charges.
The other thing that I discovered is that if I click on the little, can you show your screen again?
I can. Oh yeah, I guess I need to do that so you guys can see it.
Yeah. You were sharing it a minute ago.
Yeah.
Still not. Okay, yeah. I see the Rivian. There we go. If you click on the little in the list of stops, if you click on the little circle that represents a particular charger, that actually locks that in. If you heart, I guess you have to heart it, or you have to favorite it.
Heart it. Yep, you have to favorite it. Yeah, yep. And actually,
and it locks it in. So even if you wanted to reroute around something else, like that's how I forced it to go to the Rivian charger.
Yeah. So I just went. Well, that ain't gonna fly.
What happened?
It has you charging at a Ramada. I don't know about charging at a hotel.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's replace. Change to
Electrify America.
Yep. And this kind of goes back to, yeah, this would honestly be the route I would take.
Okay.
I mean, you got a couple long stops, but I mean, if you guys aren't in a hurry, this definitely lengthened all of your stops. It goes against everything that I said that I don't like doing, but
right.
But it honestly isn't terrible.
It's still about the same amount of time, though.
Right. Yep. But I dropped 7 charging stops.
Right.
And
I guess I could turn on so that only EVgo as opposed to Electrify America and EVgo. But that'll lock me out, right?
Right. Yeah. You'll end up filtering yourself. You'll possibly end up filtering yourself out of a valid route.
Bruce just said some high-speed chargers are stationed at some hotels.
Yeah.
That's
some
smart.
are, but the problem that I have at least seen with that is hotel guests then park at them because that's a parking spot.
Right.
And they could care less about you. So
how long do you think I'm sorry. How long do you think it's going to take until every gas station has a charger at it, so that the people who are used to going to gas stations will see that there's an electric charger there too, so it's easier to find and more following existing behavior.
Yeah, I mean, we see it now at a majority of our Wawa gas stations have either Tesla superchargers or EVgo's, and then a handful of Electrify America stations. Buc-ee's is another one that's got Tesla superchargers at it.
Okay.
And I think there's a few gas station chains in the Georgia area that I'm drawing a blank on the name of them, but they've got EV charging at as well. I mean, it's there, but like when it becomes as ubiquitous as gas stations, when it becomes as ubiquitous as gas pumps at a gas station,
then we'll be somewhere. Yeah. Well, then we'll probably have, there'll be a shortage of electric chargers because everybody will have electric vehicles.
Yeah.
And so instead of gas problems, we'll have electric chargers problems.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this, and again, we don't have to keep skinning this cat on YouTube Live in front of everybody, but
no, thank you.
You know, yeah, but I mean, just like figure, you know, this is what we did literally for like an hour one night, and I'm probably not exaggerating enough on the amount of time that we planned this trip because of the stops that we wanted to make along the way.
Okay. And you
But
had specific places you wanted to stop along the way?
Right, exactly. Yep.
So did you plot your route to, let's say, Zion, and then you when you got to Zion, you plotted the next leg, or you plotted the whole thing and you said, I want to go to Zion in the middle of this?
Right. I'm going to go to Zion in the middle of this, and then I would change the date that I'm leaving there with my expected state of charge. Or I doubled it up. So if like it had me charging here, it's like charging right before I got to Zion, and then the charger was actually where I needed to charge again in order to get to my next destination north of me. I would basically add it as a stop again, as a waypoint. Does that make sense? So you're going to go in there and add it as an actual,
and that's where you go into it, as you add a stop as a waypoint.
So you and then add a stop. Yeah. And then there should be, I say that now, and now I can't remember how I did it. But yeah, I was able to, where was it? No, I don't remember. But I mean, zooming in here now, you can actually see, look at all the different chargers that you could. Yeah. So if one of these is full, there's another one here that you could pick up, you know. Yeah. So
I did see that. Yeah, it did make me feel a little better.
You got plenty of options. Yeah, it's going to bother me. There's a way.
What are we trying to do?
Double up one of these stops. That way I can use it again, but that's just replace charger. Either way, you get the gist. I mean, just by changing the date, I could change the rest of the route. So that way I knew exactly when I was, when we drove to Skylar's house on like the third or fourth day that we were on the trip, we knew what our state of charge was going to be. I knew that Skylar had a charger at the house. So we pulled in with like less than 5%. Just because.
But you knew you were safe because you knew you had a charger.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So, yep.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Jimmy. I really appreciate this.
And
for all of you that are there, I just posted a help. I'm doing this route planning thing for the very first time with my very first electric vehicle. And Jimmy said, okay, let's get online and do this. So
yeah, this is something that I've been wanting to, this isn't something that I've been wanting to do for a while. And thanks for pushing me over the edge to do this, because this was fun. Anybody else got anything before we kill it? Anything?
Is anybody still there?
Yeah, there's
I don't see
16 people still stuck around. Going once, going twice. You're welcome, Jay. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, Jay.
Yeah, but
thanks so much, Jimmy.
You got my number too, so if you got any additional questions, feel free to give me a shout, shoot me a text.
Thank you so much. So I'm leaving September 18th at 8 a.m. more or less.
Nice.
So hopefully that'll all work out, and then when I get to my aunt and uncle's, life will be good, and then I'll turn around and come right back.
You're coming right back?
No, after like a weekend or
a
couple of days at least.
After a weekend? Oh my word!
Yeah, I'm not going for weeks.
For a weekend?
Hey, it's my first road trip in my new Rivian, so I'm excited to do this.
No, that's exciting. That is cool. But
I'm thinking I'm excited now, but when I get to my aunt and uncle's, I'm going to be like, I'm crazy.
Yeah. Like I'd learn how to fly fish or something while I was up there in Montana. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, they live right near Whitefish National Park, so.
Oh,
It's kind
very
of cool.
cool. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
definitely, yep, I'd be fishing,
Yeah.
camping, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure obviously I'll talk to you between now and then, but
Yeah. Thanks
either
very
way,
much.
if I forget, have a safe trip. Have fun.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. Thank you. I really
Um,
appreciate your walking me through this. I feel
yeah.
much more confident now. And of
Yeah,
course, I'll
yeah.
just scream at you if I have problems
Oh,
along the
yeah,
way.
yeah. And like we were just looking here. Well, I'm not sharing anymore, but zooming into the map, seeing
Yeah,
obviously
seeing
the
the
fact
extra
that
chargers. Yeah,
seeing the extra
that does
chargers,
make me feel better.
yeah, that goes a long way to boost the confidence.
Yes,
Um, and
very
then
true.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Very true.
So well, this was fun.
Awesome.
I appreciate
Yeah.
you jumping on with me. Everybody else that jumped on, thanks for coming on, guys and gals.
Yeah.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm going to
Thank you
try
so much.
enjoying mine. Nikki has COVID for the third time.
Oh my goodness.
So
And by the way, I'm sorry about your grandfather.
oh,
That
yeah,
was
thank you.
that was
Thank
a
you, thank
while
you.
ago, I
Yeah, it
think,
was a
but
while ago, but
I
yeah,
just
no,
saw
thank
it.
you.
But
Yep.
I'm sorry. It's
No,
hard to go through that.
yep, it is. But no, he lived a good life. He was the oldest living Clendenin, which is my mom's maiden name. So my mom's side.
Hmm.
The oldest living Clendenin male by like 27 years.
Wow. And
Yeah.
he was 90
97.
something, you said?
Yeah, just shy of
Wow.
97. Yeah.
Go,
Yep.
man, go.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Yeah.
great.
Yeah. So yeah, he lived a good life, but
Hmm.
I appreciate it. Anyways,
Absolutely.
y'all's
Thank you.
weekend. Be
Yep.
safe. Have fun. Don't get COVID like Nikki. And
She's like the
yeah.
fourth person that I've talked to in like the last couple of days who've said they've gotten COVID for the second or third time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's our third time. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy.
And
So
knock
I
on wood, I have not had it yet. And
good
I've
for
gotten
you.
all the vaccines, but well,
Good
I
for
work
you.
from home. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
helps.
She was working from home until 3 weeks ago. She started going back to the office 2 days a week. Mandatory. She didn't want to.
Right.
Definitely didn't want to. She was throwing temper tantrums. But
Well, thanks, Glenn.
anyways. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Glenn. Thanks for coming on, bud. I need to text you, Glenn, because I haven't talked to you in a bit to see how your truck is, but we'll text you after this. Anyways, again, you guys have
Thank
a
you
great
very
rest of
much,
the
everybody.
weekend. Talk
Thank you.
soon and have
Get
fun.
better soon, Nikki.
I'll tell her you said something.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.